Welcome in, everybody. So glad you all are here. This is going to be a great one. My name is Hunter. My pronouns are he, they, and you are at the Power to Fly Chat and Learn Daydream to Dream Job using AI to find your career path. This is one of my favorite topics, how to use new tools in ways that can help us today. And we have an amazing person to help us along the way. We're going to jump right in. So before we get started, please take a look at the code of conduct. If this was AI, I would summarize it for you, which would be in a short little list format. And it would say, be nice. Be nice to everyone in the room. Please be respectful. This is a shared space so that we can all have the best possible experience. Please be kind to one another. Okay, you can participate. You can turn your cameras on. Yep, wonderful. I see folks turning on their cameras. Lovely to see you. No need to be Instagram ready. We're here. It's just hanging out. We love a little connection with each other. We're also connected all over the planet and disconnected. Oh, I got puppies? Yeah, come on, puppies. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Feel free to drop your pet's name in the chat, everyone, if you have a pet. My dog's name is Francis. He's about, yeah, I know, dogs with human names are funny, right? He's about this big. He's a little croissant, a little bean. He's 8.5 pounds. He might make an appearance, but I'll just drop some pictures in the chat. We are recording this, so if you're watching the rewatch, thank you so much for enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying all of the moments about dogs so far, but alas, that is not what the rest of this talk is about, but there will be more dogs. You can count on it. The recording of this will be posted on YouTube, and if you want to ask questions in the chat, feel free to drop them in the chat publicly, and that way we will keep track of those, and I will ask the questions on your behalf. You can also DM me if you want to ask a question anonymously. You can also DM Deja if you want to, but it's my responsibility to manage the questions, so keep them to me if you can. So without further ado, we are going to start our session today. And Deja and I had a little moment before we jumped in, and I'm going to bring it back because, okay, I need to make sure my sound is on low. So we have Breakroom Buddha. So before we begin today, I got this thing. I was like, I think this would be a nice way to start with Deja. Satisfying, right? Is that nice? That's nice. Okay, so we got Deja White, founder of Breakroom Buddha. Deja is the founder of Breakroom Buddha, a career development platform dedicated to equipping professionals with essential resources to succeed in their careers at every stage. With expertise in workforce preparedness, career planning, and career clarity and design, she focuses on supporting early and mid-career professionals in achieving their short-term and long-term career goals. So please give a digital namaste and round of applause to Deja White. Hi, Deja. How are you?
Hey everyone. How are y'all doing today? I'm doing good.
Very good. Where are you calling in from, Deja?
Well, I am in Atlanta right now. Very rainy, but the sun is starting to peek out a little bit, but it's going to be a good day.
Oh, excellent. And now that I can see the chat, I'm going to give some shout outs to these amazing pet names. We got Snowball. We got Zeus and Storm for the cloudy storms going on over there. We got Jeannie and the cat Wilma Rose. My sister's middle name is Rose. Love a full name. My cats are Lucy and Lucky. I've got Jasper the Wonder, Ozzy, and Zebra the Tiny Tiger. Oh my gosh.
I
It
love
is
these
a good
names.
group, everybody. Lovely, lovely. And I love all this participation. Keep it coming. So if you have any questions about AI and how to use it for your career, planning, brainstorming, developing, drop those questions in the chat. We would love to hear from you. A bunch of y'all sent some questions in advance. I have those on a sheet here. Deja and I took a look at them. Incredible questions. So clear, right, Deja? We have some really smart people in the room today.
Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah. So before we jump in with the questions, Deja, can you tell me a bit about your career journey,
Yeah.
perhaps why you're interested in AI? It's sort of a newish thing, but the hype is starting to die down and now we're starting to go, "Oh, how do I use this thing every day?" right? So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about that journey, pre-AI and now in the thick of it with AI with Deja White.
Yeah, sure. So I've spent my entire career in marketing. So I've always had to be in the forefront of new technology, new media practices, what was hot in culture. So I take all of that and I use it for my job, obviously, but then I apply it to myself. How can I remain at the forefront of culture, of technology, and use it to move in my career, get new clients, land new jobs? So everything that I learned in the workplace, I use out of the workplace. I spent most of my career in media companies, so like the bigger names that you might see. And then I started moving more towards startups because a lot of times they move a little bit faster. They have their finger on the pulse of culture. As you can see, culture keeps coming back. I love culture, being immersed in it, and being at the forefront of what's next. So that's my career. Spent about 10 years in that space, and I still do some marketing work as contract as a consultant. But I spend a lot of my times doing workshops around career development because the more that I talk to people, they're very unclear about what they want to do with the skills that they have. And then they don't know how to use some of the resources like AI tools, even some of the online resume builders that are available to us now. And I just like to go and train people and help them get where they want to be. So that's where Breakroom Buddha was born. And that's where I am right now in my career.
I love that. It's like you're helping people when you're speaking to getting clear on what they want. It's almost as if you're helping with the marketing of ourselves.
Yeah, everyone's a marketer, even if they don't think they're a marketer. That's one thing I learned doing this work. And even in my career, I'm like, wait, I'm doing all of this, but then I now have to learn how to tell people how I'm doing this thing. I'm a marketer in and out of the workplace, and so is everybody else.
Right, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, questions are already starting to come in. This is really great. So let's jump in, and friends, feel free to ask questions at any point throughout. This time is for you. We want to utilize this time to for you to get the most value. So feel free to ask those questions right in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. So, Deja, can you give me a little intro to? We hear the word prompting quite a bit with AI. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so the way that I like to look at prompting is like storytelling. If we're going back to the marketer's mind, you are talking to a friend. I know I don't want to get creepy. Some people think it's creepy when you say AI is a friend, but you're basically talking to a friend and you're telling them what you need from them. So when you open up a chat, it could be Claude, it can be Chat GPT. There's usually a box. And then in that box is where you put exactly what you need. I'm going to the store later on. I have these ingredients that I need, and I'm missing these ingredients. Create a shopping list for me. So that's a very simple example of a prompt. You told it what you were doing, what you needed, what you had, and then you asked it to give you something back. So that's the way I look at it. It's just storytelling at the very base level.
I love that. So, if we're talking to AI as if it's our friend, we're using storytelling. What are There's a lot of different ways to tell a story. So, what are some of the ways that you find are the most effective ways to prompt the AI in storytelling?
Yeah, be super specific. What are you doing? What's the problem you're having? And what do you need from that tool? So, in our example of going to the store, we wanted ingredients and we needed a shopping list to help us get through the store quicker. If you're on your job hunt, you need help editing your resume bullet point. what's missing? I need help making sure that the job description that I have, so you can copy and paste the job description, matches with the resume bullet point that I have. So you copy and paste your resume bullet point into the AI tool. So all the time you need to give it context. What's the problem that you're trying to solve and what do you currently have? And with that, you normally get great answers. It's when you're missing pieces that AI starts to give you answers that don't make sense. Sometimes it's all over the place. Um, I think ChatGPT now is doing a better job of asking follow-up questions. So after you give it something, it asks you for more information or asks you if you want something else. So I think that helps with your storytelling a little bit because it's probing you to give more information.
Totally. I've noticed that too. And there's other AIs for folks that maybe you've only heard of ChatGPT so far. It's an amazing one. There's also Anthropic's Claude, which
Mhm.
is really powerful in its own way. And I've also noticed that too, Deja, that it's asking me more questions now to the point where I was like, stop asking questions, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it gets dangerous because you can get stuck in a rabbit hole of questions without getting what you need. So you got to know when to cut it off.
Yeah, exactly. This is something that my boyfriend and I are working on a regular basis, but that's enough about my personal life. So this is so great. So I love that idea of being super specific with the AI because it's really good at solving the problem that it's given.
Hmm.
And it's also still clever at making things up when it maybe is
Hmm.
missing information. So,
Yeah.
how do you make sure the information you're getting is accurate?
Yeah. So I use it a lot to update my resume. So I'll give it a job description, I'll give it my resume, and then it'll start making up numbers. And I'm like, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Please. I talk to it like a friend or a mentor. I'm like, don't make up things. Please use the information that I've given you to make sure that I'm getting the answer that I need. So, a lot of times, if it's making stuff up, you have to tell it to not make things up and to just stick to what you've given it, and then it'll correct itself. That's the annoying part and the part that takes a little bit longer, but you want to make sure you're not telling stories. You want to tell a story, but you want to make sure you're not lying about the experience that you have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've found that too when I was updating a resume or a cover letter or something, and it was making stuff up. I was like, that's completely not true. And about how many years of experience or how many viewers there were on a particular call or
Yeah.
whatever. And I find sometimes in a similar way, I'll like, don't make things up, but make bold placeholders. Like, this is an
Yeah.
important place for a number, for
Yep.
some social proof, or whatever it is, but make it super obvious for me to see that I need to put in something real there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can ask it to put placeholders. And then normally it'll say like XYZ or it'll say something like insert number here. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good call out.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you use it for your resume, you were saying for certain use cases. How does Deja, like, what's your day to day with AI? What else are you using it for?
Yeah. Oh, I use it like a personal assistant. I keep seeing people say AI should be on my payroll. It should be on my payroll for sure. I use it to do research. We were just talking before we hopped on the call that now my go-to is ChatGPT. Now you're able to search the internet and get sources through ChatGPT. So I'll ask it for stats on how the job market is going. I just went to a career day at a high school, and I asked it to generate the top growing industries over the next 10 years. And they leaned on like the US labor website to pull out the top 10 industries that are growing and then the majors that the students need to major in to get into those industries. So like I use it as like a research assistant as well. And if I need to create like a social media graphic, I'll go to Chat GBT and I'll tell it to give me some ideas on how I can set up my content. So even in the workplace, you can use ChatGPT beyond searching for a job. You can use it beyond helping you write an email. You can use it for just about anything. It's like an assistant in your pocket, whatever you need.
I love that. Without going too far down the rabbit hole, and I'm not going to put you on too much on the spot here, but can you
Yeah.
remember what are some of, I love that you go to high school job fairs. That warmed my heart
Yeah.
and makes me like, that makes me, gives me so much hope.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. One.
Yeah.
Two, what were some of the careers that it was
Oh
saying these
yeah.
kids should like focus on? I'm
Oh
very,
yeah. Health care and social. I think it said social services because our population is aging. And over the next 10 years, it'll be about 2 million people that will be hired in that industry because it needs so much help. Education was on the list. We still need teachers. They're not going anywhere. Cybersecurity. So, the CrowdStrike thing that happened and everyone's flights got canceled. So cybersecurity is a really big deal. Cloud services is a really big deal. All of that falls under IT. I'm trying to think of what else. Um, I've engineering and like urban planning, like things like that was on the list, and I was shocked. And then professional services, so like your lawyers, your accountants, financial advisors, those aren't going anywhere, especially with like the surge of entrepreneurship. So those are all really, really big, and they will grow over the course of the next 10 years.
that's so fascinating. I love hearing that because it's a nice reminder that there's so many jobs that AI can't replace, but will
Yep.
enhance,
Yep.
right? So I love hearing that. The AI is telling us what to focus
Yeah. And in healthcare now, they're very strict on what you do with the customer's data. So if someone is scared of AI or that it might take their jobs, like that's always a good option
on. Yeah,
as well. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like we are already answering one of these questions, but I want to shout it out because it's a great question. Can some what can you recommend for resources to get some beginning understanding of AI? I'm trying to like guide us in here a little bit, but we only got an
Yeah.
hour. So where
Yeah.
should people go after this?
That's true. I love TikTok. TikTok's a great place to do some quick research. So if you
Yes.
don't have a TikTok account, you can look at TikToks on your desktop. And they also do a really good job of surfacing content just by a simple Google search. So you can say, how can I use AI for my job search? Or what are the basics of AI? And there are a lot of content creators who take a very foundational approach to helping you learn how to prompt, to helping you learn how to set up your AI tool. So I always say go to TikTok. It's a free marketplace. Same thing with YouTube. It's a free marketplace. But if you want to get a little bit more detailed, I believe Google has like a certificate program that they put up recently where you can learn about the technical side of AI. I haven't seen Coursera, but I'm sure Coursera has some sort of AI pathway as well. So go first to the free resources like the TikToks and the YouTubes of the world, even LinkedIn.
Mhm.
There are some people who I think Ruben is one of them. I forgot his last name, but if you Google Ruben AI, he will show up. He has an AI tool and he talks about how to create LinkedIn posts using AI. There is a woman who worked at Google. I can't remember her name right now either, but she also labels herself like an AI expert on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a very great place to go to see people who are showing actual examples of what you can do when you use AI.
Those are all great examples. And the thing that's great about the social bite-sized bits that you get too is there's a lot of, we have a lot of I don't know. I think as a society we put the algorithm down quite a bit. Like, oh, the algorithms really got me. But the good part is if you do get in a wavelength of
Yep.
stuff that you actually want to learn about,
Yep.
the algorithm has your back
It's
because
good.
it will
Yeah, that's what
keep
I love.
pushing. Yeah, right. I'm just like, oh, you follow this person. It's like now I'm in this like AI wormhole of information.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Instagram is really good about doing that, especially ads. So if you start
Yeah.
looking at AI stuff on Instagram, you might start getting some ads from some for some certificate programs or things like that. So
Yep.
just hit up all the different social media platforms and you'll find some information.
And we'll do this again at the end, but are you on TikTok? And I'm sure you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So I am on TikTok. You just look up Breakroom Buddha and I'm the first one that pops up. I talk a little bit about AI, but I mostly talk about moving in and out of the corporate space for people who might be a little bit newer or need some reminding of some of the corporate rules that we run into. And yes, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I give all my career clarity content. So I'll drop prompts for people to use. I'll have reflection questions for people to use about their career journey. So follow me on both for different types of content, but it's both useful.
I love that. Well, you're going to see me blowing up your comment section now. Watch out. I'm on, those are the two that I'm most primary on too, is LinkedIn and TikTok. And then Instagram for me has, because I've had it for so long.
Yeah.
And, now it's more of like, and I've noticed this with a lot of people. It's like, that's the more like personal page
Yeah.
now. Because
That's
it's
what I
like,
do.
yeah, is that what you do too?
Yeah,
I'll
that's
date
my behind the
myself.
scenes.
Yeah, I'm like an elder millennial, so like when we jump shipped or geriatric millennial, depending on how creaky my back is feeling.
Yeah.
Um, it's like when I jumped ship from Facebook, I was like, well, I'll just go to the other meta product, which is
Yeah.
Instagram, where I feel a little less like I don't know. I feel like I belong here a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand. I feel that.
So what are some? We were talking a little bit about this too before at the beginning of the call. So we got our Chat GBT, we
Mhm.
got our Anthropic's Claude, which is like
Yep.
another Chat GBT. What are some other tools that you like? And
Yeah.
you specifically did a call out to resume, so I'd love to hear maybe some of
Yeah.
those tools that you're interested in.
Yeah, so I actually like this tool called Simplify. Before they weren't labeling themselves as an AI tool, but I feel like they did some things in the background. So now it's Simplify AI. But what it does is when you're on a job page, it'll automatically fill in all those annoying boxes that you have to fill in when you apply to a job. And then they also have features where on their platform you can upload your resume and you can fill out your background. So when you're also on those pages, it'll automatically upload your resume for you. If you want to fill out that like work history section that are on job applications, it automatically fills that out for you too. So I love that tool a lot. I've played around with Teal a little bit, and everyone loves their resume builder. But if you go a little bit deeper, they also have some like workplace and professional clarity type of tools. So I'm really big on like personality quizzes and career quizzes. They have an aspect of that in Teal, and it tells you a little bit how you show up in a workplace and what type of work environments work well for you. So Till is one that's great for their AI resume builder. But if you want to get a little bit more clear about how you show up in a workplace, also use those features that they have there. I created an AI tool recently. So mine is called AI Career Copilot. So you can go to aicareercopilot.com and it helps you with analyzing your resume. So I have people come to me and they tell me to review their resume, tell me if I'm qualified for this job. So I basically cloned myself and made myself an AI. So when you upload your resume, it'll tell you how qualified you are for a role. It'll give you a brief overview of what you might need to change based on a job description. And then it'll give you some resume bullet points that you could potentially add to your resume. And then it has some other tools like an AI interview tool to help you practice your interview, and an AI like career pathing tool so that if you're starting from one role and you don't know where you want to go next in your career, it'll help you figure it out a little bit. And it also has a little AI coach in there. so you can ask it some off the cuff questions. But those are all the tools that I use. There are a ton. You can go down a rabbit hole, and there are also websites. You can Google like AI tools. And then there are websites that compile just lists and lists of AI tools. And I'll plug one more. There's one called Gamma AI.
Mm.
I am obsessed with Gamma, especially if you are in interviews and they ask you to do assignments, like put together PowerPoints or presentations or documents. I use Gamma. I got an interview, and then maybe like a day later, they said, "Hey, we want you to put together this PowerPoint for us using all of our assets and our strategy." I used Gamma. I plugged everything in. And then I moved some things around. I inserted my strategy and my content, and then I was able to go the next day and present that interview material. So Gamma's a really, really good one as well.
I love that. And I'm gonna drop because people are asking, what is yours? So I'm gonna put yours because I was checking it out
Oh,
on
perfect.
there you
Thank
go. So
you.
there's your link in the chat there. It is a slick website for one, so well done.
Thank
She
you.
knows what she's doing. It's
Yeah.
very slick. I like you go as soon as I open the page, I know exactly what it is. That's what
Yep.
we want. You got me
Yep.
in the first 3 seconds, Deja. You got it.
Storytelling.
It was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. So yeah, we'll fire off some more of these tools too. I also love Gamma. That is a great
Yeah.
one. Um, never stress about making a slide deck again with Gamma. It's
No,
so
no,
great
no.
because it uses Chat GBT to like you just be like you can give it all sorts of different assets. You can even just
Yeah.
be like, here's my company website. Make a pitch deck
Yeah.
out of it. And it's just like boop, boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 and it's so
Yeah.
cool.
It is good. And now they have the website is a new development. I saw that recently. At first, it was just PowerPoints when I first used it. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm going to list one more. I thought about this. Napkin AI is a new one that someone just told me about. And it's like, those like graphs that you see all the social media thought leaders using. Um,
Yeah.
that like they'll have like pictures of like staircases and like hills and having inspirational quotes and things around it. But Napkin AI is really good if you need some figures or graphs to help you describe whatever you're talking about in and out of the workplace. So that's a really good one too.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't played with this one yet, but I feel like I've heard it on one of the 100,000 AI newsletters that I'm on.
Yeah,
It,
listen, you can go down the AI rabbit hole, so I'm gonna cut it off. But yeah, there's a lot there.
the tools, yeah, the
Yeah,
tool
there's
rabbit
so
hole, it's
many.
a lot. It's a lot. They're not paying us to
They're
talk so
not.
much about their
I'm not an
tools.
ambassador for any of these
I
companies.
know these aren't affiliate links that we're dropping
No.
in, as you can see. That's why, when I host webinars with some of my friends, we'll be like, "Well, we'll recommend tools if they pay us."
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
But I have my tech stack too that I'm happy to share.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep those questions coming, friends. We have exactly 30 minutes left. Can you believe it? It
Oh my
flies
gosh, it's going
by.
so fast.
I know, time flies when you're having fun and learning quickly, right? Okay, so keep those questions coming. All right, let me pull back up. I just got so lost in our chat here. Let me pull up our questions again. Okay, so let's get back to, so now okay, we did the kind of zoom out, right? And we're like, okay, so we got these tools. We're talking about prompting. There's the enterprise things, ChatGPT, Claude. Okay, now we're looking at some of these tools. So now let's zoom back in.
Mhm.
And now, someone ask, how can I go from envisioning a set of dream
Mm.
job duties to finding the right job title through
Yeah.
searches?
Yeah. So that I'm going to talk about my favorite tool, ChatGPT. I'm not being paid, I'm not ambassador, but I use it to list out exactly what I'm envisioning. So if my day to day requires me to wake up at 10 a.m., I'm going to I want to wake up every day at 10 a.m. I only want to work 5 hours a week. I want to I'm making it up. I want to create content all day, every day, and I want to be a voice for the next generation. Give me a list of jobs that would allow me to do this specific thing. So you tell ChatGPT what your dream is, and then you tell it to give me a list of jobs that align with what I want to do, what my lifestyle goals are. You can say how much you want to make. So you tell it how much you want to make. And if those jobs sound very basic and plain, you can say these are a great start, but give me more out of the box job titles or out of the box jobs or jobs that are in demand. Like you just tell it if you want a job that's in demand, you tell it jobs that's in demand. If you want out of the box jobs that you can make up and you feel like you're an entrepreneur and you got the spirit, you can tell it that. So it all goes back to storytelling. You tell it exactly what problem you're having, what you want, and then you ask it to deliver something for you.
Shout out to you, got the spirit. Yes.
Yeah. You
Just
got
made my
it.
heart sing. It was like, oh, I got the spirit.
You
Thank you,
got it.
Deja.
You got
Yes.
it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And also my compatriot here, Rob Rebar, that Power to Fly, is dropping links in the chat. Feel free to check out Breakroom Buddha's lifestyle blog,
Yep, yep,
where
yep.
you can zone in, maybe get more inspiration, examples of that. I feel like we just got a little sneak peek into your subconscious. So you only want to work
Yeah.
5 hours a day,
Yeah.
get up at 10.
There we go. Listen. That is why I do contracts and I own my own business now. But yes, you got into my mind a little bit.
I love
That's how
that.
I use ChatGPT. It knows me so well now.
That's what's so incredible too is it helps me get to know myself is the
Yeah,
way
it
I look at it.
does. Have you
Because
jumped on the trend? There's a trend going on where you ask it a prompt, and it's like knowing what you know about me, tell me
yes.
what my desires are, tell me what my limitations are. Like it's just people are just asking ChatGPT to like basically be their therapist without being their therapist. Um,
Yep.
and it knows so much. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I have jumped on that trend a little bit. And because that trend started where for a while, friends, all of the chat, if you haven't used ChatGPT, there's like all these threads of like different conversations. And within the past couple months, they introduced what they're calling memory, which
yep.
means it can is looking at all of your threads. So now that's all of the data, like like one thread will understand what's going on in the other thread. So
Hmm.
now it's less about like segmenting it in ChatGPT, but more it's like segmenting it for us to be like,
Yeah.
oh, this thread is about this thread is about this. If you want to get really in the weeds, that's called rag retrieval, but we won't get into that.
Ooh, see,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
not know that. I'm learning too.
Yeah, if you really want to nerd out, you can follow my TikToks, but I try not to get too in the weeds. I said that to you earlier when I was like, how in the weeds do you want to get, Deja? You're
Yeah.
like, no, 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 don't do that.
Because listen, if you fall in love with AI, 100% start digging into the background information. But if you just want to lightly use it or to help you go in a direction, don't get too in the weeds because you'll start to get a little confused. Yeah,
Right? Well, that's
yeah,
the thing too, is there's this, I don't know, I am like a hyperachiever, recovering perfectionist.
yeah,
So I want to like know everything about every little thing.
yeah, me too.
And that I've learned is actually can be a detriment and a
Yeah,
distraction
yep,
because then my ADHD is like shiny thing, shiny thing, shiny thing. And then I like
yeah,
don't actually focus on one thing anymore. And
yeah,
you and I were talking about this of like, zoning in on just a couple of use cases, a couple
yep,
of pain points for me, a couple of tasks like job
yep,
hunt. That's a full-time task,
yeah,
right?
yep,
You know, better management of my calendar,
yep,
full-time task, like
yep.
perfect that, right? How do you zone in on like what you want to improve or work on without getting distracted by all the shiny AI things?
Yeah, especially when it's a ton of AI tools. I focus on what my goals are. So as I mentioned before, you got a little bit of peek into what I achieve or what I plan to achieve. So I only use specific AI tools and I only use ChatGPT in that specific way to make sure that I'm achieving my goals. So if it's the 10 a.m. thing, how many hours of sleep do I need to make sure I'm refreshed by 10 a.m. to get up and do my job? That's a
Mm,
question that I can ask ChatGPT. Like I said, I go to college fairs and career fairs, so I'll ask ChatGPT, what are some schools in my local area that have college fairs and career fairs? What's their contact information? Because now ChatGPT can search the web. What type of colleges are in the area that I can go speak at? What are the local technical schools? Like I just get super into the weeds of the one thing that I'm focusing on, that my one goal is. And that's how I choose my AI tools to use. That's how I choose what type of questions to ask my AI. Like I said before, there are a ton of tools out there, but just find one or two that will help you solve your specific challenge, or help you reach your goal, and that will keep you focused for
yeah,
100%.
I completely agree. Because once I find a couple that work, there's the impulse to be like, oh, but there's something better over there. It's like, no, no, this one actually works.
Yeah.
Keep using it until it
Yeah.
doesn't work,
Yeah. That's a hundred
or it
percent.
doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
If there's too steep of a learning curve sometimes, I'm like, I don't got time.
Yep.
Life's
Yep.
too
Yep.
short.
Yep, 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 yep. And there's probably another tool that will do it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I stay focused. So I tell everybody, please stay focused. Just stay focused on whatever you're working on.
Yeah, and what I think is also great about that is if then for myself, like I'm in several AI communities. There's a bunch on Slack, there's on LinkedIn, crowdsourcing, in different ways. So I'd be like, hey, I'm using this one tool, and then I'll talk about it, and then if I see a tool that's like a shiny thing, but
Yep.
I know other people, I'll be like, hey. My buddy Tyler, I'm like, Tyler, have you looked at this one yet? Go, and then he might go and look at it, and then I'll wait
Yeah.
for him to report back. So I
Yeah.
won't do all the research on it.
Yep.
I'll find a person that I think it might be a good fit for, just on surface level, high level.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. You made me think about Reddit because I'll look up AI tools now and then I'll see a Reddit thread and someone's talking about the AI tool. I'm like, great, I don't have to make an account. I don't have to clog up my email box just to test it out. Somebody else
Yeah,
already did
that's
it.
oh, I love that. That's a really good idea. Yeah, Reddit is like the underdog of social media platforms still somehow.
It is. Yeah. It's basically like a YouTube's comments, just like as a website. So like I don't know why it's not as popular, but it's getting there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Someone asked a really great question, which is, what do these tools not do? In other
Oh.
words, what are unrealistic expectations about these AI tools regarding job hunts?
Ooh, so it won't do the work for you. So, well, I'll go back to the example of me plugging in my resume. So I'll ask it to help me and to give me feedback. But at the end of the day, I still need to go in and tweak all of the language to make sure that it sounds realistic. It's not run on sentences. It didn't give me fake numbers. Um, it actually represents what I did. So sometimes ChatGPT gets really, really bold in the statements that they make, or Claude or any of the other ones. So you have to be realistic. So like if you do get a call back for an interview, you got to be able to speak to the things that are on your resume. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then you can't explain it in an interview. Um, it will, like if you're doing something, you're asking it for strategy, it'll give you like high level strategy. You can even get into the weeds, but you still have to be able to execute all the things that you're asking it. So the number one thing I say is like it can't do the work for you. Whatever you've asked it, you now have to then take it and apply it to your everyday life and add your human touch to it. So that's the number one thing I'd say that it can't do. But other than that, it does a lot. It does so much. I'm racking my brain. I'm like, what can it not do?
Yeah.
It can give you code. It can build games. It can give you recipe. I use it to make recipes. Like
Yep.
it just does a lot. What about you? Have you found that it can't, like some things that it can't do for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right?
Yeah.
Because when people are like, what do you use AI for? I was like, it's actually maybe easier to say the other way. Because like, well, what do I not use AI for
Yeah,
now?
that's
Is
true. Yeah.
I love the recipe thing. My friend will just take pictures of what's
Yeah.
inside the fridge and be like, what can I make?
Yep. Yep. That's smart. Yep. And there's
Yeah,
apps for that too now. So
I'm sure
you don't
there's
even take,
many.
yes.
Well, that's the thing with the apps too, which is if you start to get familiar with the main platforms like ChatGPT and Claude, you actually can make your own little mini apps. It might not have a pretty
Yeah.
UI UX,
Yep.
but that's a lot of what the apps are doing, right? It's
That's
like
true. It's a wrapper.
it's a wrapper, but it's a very it's to your point though, it's someone had a good idea,
Yep.
potentially, a human, and put a
Hmm.
human touch on it because if it has scraped all of the internet,
Yep.
like sure, a computer is a wrapper for knowledge, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
there's a lot in this thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a wrapper, but maybe I just need the simplicity of the app or the platform or the
Hmm.
service. But at the same time, that's when I'm like, oh, do I need to pay like $15 a month for this thing, or can I just ask ChatGPT to do it? You know, like
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. That's good insight. If you have the time, energy, and the patience to prompt, you actually don't really need third-party tools to do a lot of the work. But if you don't have the time, patience, and your mind is at a million different places, just go ahead and pay the $10 that the app is charging you to take a picture of your fridge and give you recipes, or upload your resume and edit it, like give
right,
you tips on what you need to change. Like,
yeah,
so it all comes down to what you can do in your life.
yeah. Do you want to pay with time or do you want to pay with money?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's like there's plenty of things like I use AI a lot. I'm like, I'd rather just pay for someone already
Yeah.
else figured that out. I don't need to figure
Yeah.
that out.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we have about a little less than 20 minutes left. Someone asked a really great question in advance that I'd love to call out. What advice do you have for job seekers that are 45 or older, or even maybe a little 40 or over, like myself?
Yeah. So I think all, like a lot of the tools that we called out are very approachable. So if someone who is 40 or older or has been in their industry for like 30 to 40 plus years, they would probably be someone who pays for one of those third-party tools to just simply upload their resume or simply quickly edit their resume using their AI tools that are available. If you want to learn how to prompt, it's easy. It's as easy as taking screenshots and then just asking a chat GBT or a Claude the questions that you have. But if you don't have the patience, just go ahead and pay for that third-party tool. When it comes to exploring careers, there's so many careers that didn't exist like 10 years ago when I got started. So I know there are a ton of careers that exist like 20, 30, like 20, 30 years, and some people started their career. They have no clue what's happening in the market today. So a very approachable thing that you can ask ChatGPT or Claude or any other tool, is what can I do now today with the skills that I have? And you can list your job titles. You can list some of the responsibilities that you've had throughout the years that you are attracted to. So like I always advise people not to list things that they don't want to do, because it'll start to give you things that you might be doing that you don't like to do. So look at the things that don't drain your energy, things that energize you, things that you like to do, some of the job titles, and then it'll start to give you a list of new job titles that are in demand today, that you can start to look into and move towards.
I love that. And another call out to the chat. For no fluff career advice, you can check out Office Chats by Breakroom Buddha
Yeah.
podcast.
All right. Let me talk about that a little bit.
Let's talk about the
Yeah, talk about the
podcast.
podcast. So, Google just released Notebook LM or
LM. Yep.
LM, yes.
Yep.
And
It's bananas.
yes, so I my goal is to either get kicked off of that platform or become a brand ambassador. That's how much I'm going to use that tool.
Is that what your podcast is? Is it that?
Yes. So
Oh,
yes.
you did
So
not. Yes.
so my podcast is co-hosted with these AI podcasters that Notebook has given everyone access to. So a quick plug, if you are in a job hunt and you like need to cram or learn about your industry that you're going into, you can feed it into Google's notebook tool, and then it'll turn it into a podcast for you. You can just listen to information about your industry without ever reading the articles that you're putting in there. So that's a good way for you to study up on your industry, learn about your industry, learn about a company, whatever kind of research you need to do during your job hunt, you can feed it into that tool. But my podcast is me. I chat a little bit about some career topics. And then I have articles and LinkedIn posts that I've written over the years. And I put it inside of that tool. And then it gives people a nice summary of some of my frameworks and concepts and things that I talk about. So it's a way to introduce you into my world. And then you get a more detailed look at my topics and frameworks when you click on the articles that I list under each episode. So yeah, it's really cool. I use it for personal use and for my business and brand, but I love telling people about it because you can also use it in your job search.
It's so good. Yeah, it came out a couple, like only like 2 months ago or three
Yeah, it's
months ago,
really new.
and they keep adding new things to it too. It's getting
Yeah.
very interesting, and I did a whole section of a chat and learn just on this tool when it came.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was gonna do an AI talk, like someone was actually
Yeah.
interviewing me here at Power to Fly, and literally, Deja, the tool dropped the night before, and I
Oh,
was like,
yes.
oh no, I have to talk about this
Yes.
now. And, and I had it do a whole, I just fed it. It's called Google Notebook LM. And
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
Google it, I guarantee it'll be the
Yeah.
first thing to pop
It,
up.
it will.
Um, and I fed it like Power to Fly, stuff about me, what the chat and learn was going to be about. And then
Yeah.
it was like these two charismatic
Yes.
hosts that like were like, okay, today we're going to talk about Hunter Canning and Power to Fly. And I'm
Yes.
like, what?
It's so crazy. And
Yeah,
I send it to my dad because my family, they love me, but they do not want to read all of the blog articles that I have. And I'm like,
right.
here you go. Now you can engage, but you don't have to read everything that I write.
Yeah, just
So yeah,
listen.
just
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, and I'm a big auditory learner, so I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's a great way to be like, oh, drop in this document or a research paper or whatever, and
Yep.
then it's boom, 10-minute podcast
Yep.
for me,
Yep.
for my use case.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect. So I think all job seekers need to use it. You can drop in articles and news about the companies that you want to work for and then just consume it all. And you'll be a little bit more knowledgeable about the industry and the companies that you want to work for. So it's super cool.
Yeah, totally. Yes, that the chat and learn that I'm referencing is available. Maybe Rob, you can be a dear and pull it up and drop it in there for us. But yeah, also more to the point, breakroombuddha.com. That's uh, Deja's website and the blog, and you can listen to
Hmm.
her co-hosts with her
Yeah.
podcast. I love it. So we have a question that I'd love to give a shout out to. Someone DM me. What are the prospects for entry level jobs in AI and how to get trained for it?
Ooh, yeah. So I feel like AI is still a little bit of the wild, wild west in certain areas. Like people don't really know how to approach it yet. But I recently saw companies like BuzzFeed, they have AI fellows now. So you don't have to have any background in AI, and they want you to come in and sort of like play around with AI. So I looked at the job description and one of them was for like a creative fellow. So you would use AI to create like quizzes, to create like little fun images for their website. And then they wanted someone who was more technical. So like maybe like someone who comes from like a software development background or who is self-taught and knows the ins and outs of some of the front end and back end work that's involved with development. But they were going to be the people who executed on the creative AI ideas. So a lot of companies are starting to feed it in slowly. I come from the media world, so that's where I get a lot of the jobs that I'm seeing. But a lot of the tech companies have been doing AI forever, for a while, if it's not forever, for a while. So they have entry level jobs already baked in into their companies. It's just when you start to get maybe into like a legal field or a media field or like a healthcare field, they may not know what to do with it yet. But there are always entry level jobs on the more of the tech side. But if you want to be a little bit more creative, you may have to create your job. I've created some of
Mm,
my jobs. I've started as one thing and then I raised my hand and I was willing to do other things. So like if you're someone who likes to maybe copyright, and then your number one job is to write copy for a website, you can start to integrate AI into it and then maybe get your title switched a little bit and become like a prompt engineer. And then that's your entry into the AI field. So that those are like two ways that you can look at it.
that's really smart. It is, there are no rules right now with this.
Mm-mm.
It's all being developed. I feel like there's also going to be job titles that come and go
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because for a little while there was like chief AI officer was sort
Yep,
of a thing, right? That it still is. There's still a wave of that, but I think what is happening is there's AI consultants that were
hmm,
looking to like fill that job, right?
yep,
Now I've noticed the trend is there's AI consultants that are training someone internally to become the team's chief AI officer so they can
yeah,
keep it in-house. So there's a bunch
yeah.
of different ways in to
And
be like,
yeah,
and to your point, Deja, which is really astute, is what's your lane that you're already in and how
yep,
you can bring AI to it, I think is really smart because like we were saying, AI has scraped all of the internet. So it needs horse blinders. It needs a
yep,
focus. And that's where we, as experts in our field, or maybe curious about a new field, we bring in that laser focus. And then
yep.
someone's like, "How'd you get all that work done?" You're like, I'm just really fast. Or maybe
Yeah,
you
there
say
you
like,
go.
"Ah, I did AI to use it." And they're like, "How'd you do
Yeah,
that?" Depends
there
on,
you go.
the approach.
There you go. There you go. I'll give an example. I know a softball coach at a high school who recently used AI to build a playbook. So he's been a coach forever. He's been training students, getting them into college with softball. And now he's like, all right, I'm getting a little bit tired. How can I create like a playbook so that every student who's new to the game can learn their positions on the field? So like you don't even have to work for a big company. You can bring it to wherever you are and use AI to superpower whatever idea you have in your industry, in your lane.
It's so smart. And, we got a good amount of people on the call today. And, like, friends, if you're in the call or if you're watching this, you are in the 0.00001% of people that are paying attention to this. You're already ahead in the field. Like, if you feel like you don't know enough or you're behind, put that story behind you, my friend. You are ahead of everybody else. If you are just starting your journey now, you are a forward thinker.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really
We're
are.
really early.
It's easy to feel like you're in a vacuum, right? You're like, oh, look at all these influencers that are doing all this. They're like they're only maybe 10% ahead of you. Maybe they're
Yeah.
1% ahead of you. Like that's it. And if you know 1% more than the person behind you, you have something to offer and you can advance your career with it. I really am a big proponent of this. So pat yourselves on
Yeah.
the backs, my friend,
Yeah,
for
let's
being
do
here.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give a quick plug. I listen to a lot of Gary V. If people
Oh,
don't know,
yes.
Gary Vaynerchuk is always talking about what's new, what's coming up. And he'll tell you. over and over again what's new, what's hot, how to get ahead in your career, how to build a better life for yourself. So if he's talking about it right now, then chances are you're ahead of the game because he likes to predict things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's about what are you implementing, like
that's
looking
too.
at, like, you've been doing this a while, Deja, like you were talking about your 10-year career, and you built, I would imagine, in the past year, your AI coaching
Yep.
resource platform, right? Like, you couldn't have done that 3 years ago. The
Nope.
technology didn't exist. But
Nope, it didn't.
yeah, you
Yeah.
focused your energy and your time, and however long that took you to build it, you did it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's definitely less than 2 years, because it's
Yeah. It's only 1 year old, well, less than 1 years old. So yeah. So we're all new. We're all
we're
new. No
all
one's
new.
late.
Like, I have my own thing that I built, and it's like I had to spend day in, day out working
Yeah.
on just a little bit each day, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not gonna build a platform today. I'm just gonna, like,
Yeah.
explore a prompt or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Like, I'm not gonna become a weightlifter today. I'm just gonna do a push up. It's fine,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's how you have to take AI seriously because every day it's something new.
Yeah,
And if you get stuck trying to keep up with what's happening, then you'll start to get a little bit overwhelmed, and not want to use it or explore the industry. So just take
yeah.
it one day at a time. You have to be lead with your curiosity and not with like trying to get ahead of everybody else. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
and
I approach
keeping
it.
to, like, I like the sweeter version of KISS, keep it simple, sweetie, to
Yeah.
myself. I don't say the meat word anymore,
Yeah.
self-talk. And learning the foundational stuff, because everything else is just gravy that's being put on top of it now. It's like, it can do this, it can do that. It's like, yeah, it's still at its core. You just need to know how to talk to AI.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
how to storytell, how to be a
How to
marketer.
storytelling, how
There
to be
you
a
go.
marketer. So, with only a few minutes left, are there any questions or topics that we didn't get to yet that you definitely want folks to walk away with today, or if I missed something so far?
I'll just say, like we were saying, take it a little bit at a time. As we mentioned before, as you continue to use ChatGPT, I'm gonna stick with ChatGPT because they have that memory feature. You can start to ask it more in-depth questions. You can ask it to help you reflect on your career journey, on your career path. You can have it predict where you might be going, if you keep going down a certain path. Um, I tend to have a love-hate relationship with dream jobs because I think our lives, we're living our dreams and our jobs are just like extra. And it a lot of times is the foundation for us to live our dream lives, not be the dream. So describe what your dream life looks like and then have an AI tool help you get there and build towards it, and ask the questions about the jobs and things like that, but make sure you center your life at the center of it and not have it be an afterthought. So that's what I really want to leave people with, but also happy to answer any more practical questions or action-based questions that people have, in the chat.
I love that. And we have some really great stuff going on in the chat. The community is firing it up, and it's really wonderful. Someone asked, is writing a prompt a trial and error process, or is there a process to it? And then someone else chimed in saying, there are frameworks and templates available that you can use for AI prompts. You can always tweak that exist to
Yep.
change the output. And once you get familiar with them, you can start to create your own. 100%.
Yeah, there you go. Look, y'all are AI experts. Y'all get
See?
it. But yeah, 100% trial and error. The prompts that work today won't work next week. Like it just changes so rapidly. I will mention that ChatGPT has agents, so they have like a marketplace of a bunch of people who've created AI tools. And you can 100% start doing a little bit of a searching, and there might already be an AI tool that exists, so you don't even have to prompt. You just ask it the question that you need, and then you'll get results, the results that you're looking for. And I see someone's hand up, so I don't know. We're
They can
taking.
ask it in the chat, but we actually don't come off mute
Okay,
in this format. But thank you for
got
your
it.
participation and your eagerness. I appreciate it. But if you want to ask a question in the chat, that would be great. But we are, alas, out of time. So what I would actually recommend is that you DM Deja and reach out to Deja White. So you can go to her website at Breakroom Buddha. And that is where you can get breakroombuddha.com. And there's so many, you are just on it.
I've
We
been doing this for a long time, y'all. A very long time.
You
So
know how to do it because we can listen to you, we can watch you, we can read you, we can follow along. You are absolutely a delight and so inspiring. I could clearly talk to you all day,
yeah.
but I like to respect people's boundaries and time, so I won't do that to you. So, Deja, you can go to breakroombuddha.com. What's the best way to find you on all the things, on all the socials?
Yeah. So on TikTok, it's just at Breakroom Buddha. On Instagram, it's at Breakroom Buddha, but I'm very more active on TikTok. I'm starting to love that a little bit more. On LinkedIn, it's Deja White. You can just type in Deja White, and I am usually the first person to pop up. And then my website, breakroombuddha.com, you can listen to me. I have free resources and templates that you can download, articles of step-by-steps on how to do certain things in your career. And then, of course, my new AI tool, AIcareerCopilot.com. That's where you can go to get your resume reviewed, practice for your interview, and do all the things. So just explore some of these resources, and you're bound to find a gem in it to help
Mm.
you move forward in your career and in your life.
I love that. Yeah, please do check out all of the resources. Deja is so generous with her knowledge and information. And if you want that tool, I was checking out her new tool. There's the free version to get your toes wet. And because Deja spent all the time making it, if you want to just give her the money to do it, do that. Why waste your time?
There you
Focus
go.
your energy on something else, right? And that's the other thing too I love about all these, like, we can build things now, and like it's a way to
Mhm.
support each other too. Is like, I really like what Deja is up to. Like, I want to give you $15 a month or whatever it is
Yeah, there
to
you
help
go.
me with this tool, because like, you focus on that, you understand this thing. Now I can spend my energy focusing on this other thing,
Yep,
which
100%.
is not stressing about is my resume and all of that, because that is a full-time job that's
It is.
exhausting.
It is. The job hunt is a full-time job. Go ahead and pay for a third-party tool, even if it's not my tool. Pay for a third-party tool to help you move a little bit further faster
Yeah.
in this market. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Deja, thank you so much. You're getting so much love in the chat right
Thank
now.
you,
People
guys.
saying, this is awesome. Great session. Excellent session. Thank you, thank you, thank you across the board. I've
Thank
been
you,
using
guys.
your AI analyzer
Yes.
on your website. There we go. Those are words.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Deja. And thank you, everyone, for this energetic, lively chat. I think it's a great way to close out, perhaps, with all of this energy. We can just now break room Buddha.